Jerry read a magnificent article in a paper the other day. A friend gave it to him, of the trainer at SeaWorld who trains the whales and the dolphins. And she says, we train 100% with positive expectation. We never criticize or subject the animals to any discipline whatsoever. It's all about praise. It's all about come this way, come this way, come this way. And the interviewer says, well, how can that work? I've heard that in any organization, you should always fire the bottom 10% just to keep the other 90% on their toes. And she said, the closest we go toward discipline is neutral. In other words, if one of them is not performing in the way we would like, we would just withdraw our attention from what they're doing wrong. But we never stop calling them forward. And Jerry said, Abraham, what do you think about this? Is there anything about this that is off or anything about it that is on? And we said, it's all on. And what we would like to say about her is she is in a place of complete alignment with Source. In other words, in her appreciation of these beasts, she is connected to Source energy. And so in her connection to Source energy, she is standing there with the inner being of them, calling them toward the joyful being that they are. And because they are pure positive energy, they hear that call. That's why they respond so positively to that. It may not work quite as well with people, we said, because the people that you may be wanting to call forward may be paddling very hard upstream. And if somebody's paddling very hard upstream and you're joyfully calling them this way, you're just annoying to them. Works better with the dolphins. So you're getting the sense of this. It is natural for you to expand. It is natural for you to excel. It is natural for you to succeed in all things that are important to you. That is natural. And anything else is not natural. It is natural for you to feel good. It is not natural for you to feel bad. And if you will make a decision today that you're going to be a wouldn't it be nice ifer instead of a oh isn't it an awefuler. In other words, if you will make a decision that you're going to do more looking for what feels better, just lean toward the positive instead of grasping for the negative. If you will stop beating the drum of what's wrong and attempt to beat the drum more of what's right, you're going to turn in that stream more and more and more. And that thrills us just to think about it because we've seen your vibrational escrow. We know what you have put there. We have seen the power of your stream and we know the potential of your joy. And we want very much for you to relax and begin to go with the flow of the natural resources that Source is providing. So, we're eager to talk with you about anything that is important to you. There is nothing that is off limits. And so, we're here where all of the answers to all of the questions that you have queued up are. And we'll just call you forward in the most comfortable way of unfolding the answers to you in a way that you can receive them most fully. We want, by the time you leave this gathering, your worthiness to have been restored. We want you to leave this gathering no longer questioning whether you should be living a joyful, abundant life. We want you to know that nothing else is right for you. Good. Where do you want to begin? Some things. Good. You'll notice a perfect unfolding, so just relax and don't worry about when it happens or if it happens that you get called on.
Thank you. My question is about dreams. I was listening to your CD from last year, Kansas City, and you were explaining how dreams work and how when we go to sleep, we kind of bookmark our emotional set point. And then we have this experience which is closer to being dead than our waking life. And then we wake up, and wherever our bookmark is, our emotional set point, we filter that experience, and the story then of our dream unfolds, or downloads, I think you say.
That was a better description than we've ever given. It was very good.
Well, good. I'm glad I got it right. My question is, if someone is talking in their sleep, or they seem to be responding in their sleep, and yet there's not really the story unfolding at that time. What's occurring there?
Let us give you just a little bit of basis of dreams. As you live life, your life causes you to ask for more. And you are putting all of those preferences and desires forward like rockets of desires into your vibrational escrow, which is then calling you forward. And when we say that the source energy part of you has become that, we mean that the source energy part of you has vibrationally aligned with the essence of that which your desires are. Now, everything that you think about, you're offering a vibrational trail, so to speak. And the non-physical part of you only resonates and becomes a vibrational match to the desire part, the pure part of what's being born out of your life experience. As you are living your life experience and thinking about this and that and the other, you're setting yourself up for future experiences. In other words, whatever it is that you have been thinking about is not necessarily going to manifest right now, but you're flowing it into a future manifestation point. So we always say that what I'm thinking in my physical form, what I'm thinking and feeling, and what's manifesting always match. Then we like to say that what I'm thinking and feeling and what is turning up in my dream is a manifestation too. It's like an announcement of what's coming if I continue to offer the thoughts and have responding feelings in the way that I've been doing. So in the same way that we say what's unfolding in your life experience is a result of what you have been thinking, then we also say what's unfolding in your dreamscape is as a result of what you've been thinking also. So if we were in your physical body and we were to awaken to a very pleasant dream, we would say, oh good, I'll keep doing whatever I'm doing because it's unfolding in a way that's pleasing. But if we were to awaken to an unsettling or an uncomfortable dream, then we would say, I'm going to try to find thoughts that feel better around subjects that feel like this so that I can improve my vibrational point of attraction so that I can improve what's coming to me in my future experience. So now getting to the specifics of what you just stated. Many people think that they're dreaming all night long, that they're going to some other realm and that they are having that other experience. And while you are withdrawing your attention from this physical time-space reality, and the vibrational essence of you is returning to source energy, just like, as you said, when you die. As the dream is received by you, it isn't something that's happening all night long. It's something that is downloaded, so to speak, that you are receiving and translating as you are coming awake. Now, sometimes in restless sleep, you're sort of cycling in and out of that all night long. In other words, you're coming to the verge of consciousness where you're beginning to translate what's happening back again. So when you really have a good night's sleep, someone who's really sleeping well, who's been meditating, who's in alignment, who's feeling good, who's been going with the flow, they're not chattering all night in their sleep. Those who are chattering all night in their sleep are usually those who are uneasy about something, and that uneasiness is keeping them from being immersed in that slumber. They're coming close to awakening, and sometimes even awakening by their dream or by the download that they are translating. Mm-hmm. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Those kinds of positive, and we really call that positive, powerful creation. When you're creating like that and you're having those kinds of dream experiences, you're understanding how to create anything in this life experience that you want to. You can't have those magnificent dreams happening and not have magnificent things occurring in your physical life experience also, because it all comes from the same vibrational premise, you see.
Oh, that feels good.
Yes, it does.
Thank you.
What I'd like you to do is tell the creation story of Earth. So if there's not a beginning, I'm not sure how you can do that, but I imagine that there were a bunch of non-physical beings.
The creation story of Earth is not different than the creation of our friend's healing center, Welling Center. In other words, it was an idea.
Yeah.
And the essence of it was known. So it was held in the mind of that which is source, which is all of you from your non-physical perspective. In other words, first there is thought, then there is thought that is thought more upon, so it begins to take form. And when it begins to take form, then that form just means that more who are thinking it are involved in the thought. So as it begins to take form, more thinkers are involved in it, more perspectives are involved in it. So then the more perspectives that are focused upon it, then the more form it takes, until eventually the form takes such substantial form that it is able to be viewed even by more and more. And that's the point at which you begin to call it a materialization of something. The reason that it is difficult for us to have this discussion in a meaningful way with you is that you're asking about something that is being created from a formless non-place where form is not necessary, but you're asking it from a vantage point that perceives form.
Right.
Jerry was talking to us while Esther was driving the other day. He likes to chat with us while Esther drives because then we drive. So he usually does it on narrow mountain ledges and tunnels and things of that nature. And we were explaining to him that time does not exist in the non-physical realm, but we were explaining that rather than thinking in terms of time, to think in terms of right now, the universe has expanded just beyond what it was because of the discussion that we are all taking place in. So rather than thinking in terms of before and after, think in terms of what is and the expansion of more. And Jerry said, but doesn't that imply time? And we say, yes, it does imply time, but only from a vantage point that is measuring the time. So when you want to talk about the creation of something that now is so fully integrated with time and space, and you want to talk about its creation, now we have to go back before time and before space and before form and even back to the idea of it. And then we want to say to you that the idea of it held all of the same components of it that the full manifestation of it does. Just as the piece of you holds all of the pieces of you that the whole of you does. Just as you in your physical form holds all that is God within it as well. We know this must sound like gobbledygook to the most of you because we are trying to take that which is non-physical and apply physical words to it. And it is the reason that there are so many distorted fairy tales that have come out of man trying to make God fit into his physical image or try to make God of his physical image. The distortion that man has made of God is impressive. You've been hard at it for quite a while, you see. So almost the same thing happens anytime that you want to go back to the beginning of creation. And that's why we stay general about it. We say, as non-physical beings, we're always reaching for that which is more. And this physical time-space reality was just some of the more that we were reaching for. When you have a dream, you're interpreting, and when you wake up, you say, but that was just a dream and this is real. And we say, no, that was just a dream and this is just a dream, in the sense that none of it is real and tangible in the way that you think it is. It's just that when more people have thought about these things longer and longer and longer and longer and longer, the thought takes a stronger form that has more agreement and therefore becomes a greater reality. So when you reemerge into non-physical, you're going to be delighted to discover that you don't stop translating the vibration into meaningful experiences. And so this earth experience is one of those meaningful experiences that was created from the non-physical perspective. You get a sense of this? That which you call heaven and that which you call earth, they're not that far apart. In other words, what do you think non-physical beings do? Just sit around and wait for something interesting to happen in the nebulous mist up there where nothing's going on, where there's no color, there's no sky, there's nothing to do? What do you think we do? We flow through meaningful places. We flow through the leading edge of thought. Do you know where those who are in heaven, there is not that which is heaven, but you all like the sound of it, so we're all right with it. You know where those who are non-physically focused are spending their attention? Right here with you. And you know why? This is the leading edge. No one wants to go back.